Hello, Craig. Hello, Daniel. We're continuing our Fantastic Four talk. We're talking about the sequel to the original 2005 Fantastic Four movie with Fantastic Four: The Rise of the Silver Surfer, which did come out in 2007. So, what did you guys think of the Fantastic Four 2 or The Rise of Silver Surfer?
I liked it.
Oh, okay. Daniel, what did you think? And then we'll investigate that claim, Craig.
I enjoyed it too. I felt it was similar to the first one. Parts of it I enjoyed, parts of it I didn't. But overall, I enjoyed it.
So this is the first time I've seen this movie probably in its entirety and since the theater. I never really watched this one as much as the first one. So I thought it was all right too. I still think the first one's a little better cuz this one feels rushed, especially at the end where everything just kind of sloppily happens. But
Yeah,
Craig,
rushed, and there's a lot going on.
but
Yeah.
Craig, you're the Silver Surfer's number one fan. So what did you think of this interpretation of the Silver Surfer, Norrin Rad?
There's things I saw him in. I know he's also in Marvel Ultimate Alliance, but
Mhm.
yes, Colin's a big fan of that. But
I
I
am.
I liked it for the most part. I just think there's a lot going on with the movie, so they couldn't fully do everything justice, but I think all in all it was pretty good. Definitely be better than the first steps. I will say that with absolute certainty.
Well, this is Norrin Rad in this one. I don't know who it is.
It's
And
female Norrin Rad. Whatever the justification they're using, it's
It's
just female
his
Silver
oh yeah.
Surfer.
it's his comic book lover.
I know that, but it's Silver Surfer or Norrin Rad.
I think one thing I really did not like was again slugging in Doctor Doom because
Yeah.
it's just recycling the same thing that the last movie did. And in this one they do the climax even worse because I believe last week we said how short the climax was. And in this one it's even shorter, believe it or not, when they have to give Johnny all their powers because Sue gets stabbed by a silver spear. She gets stabbed right in the chest. So they all give their powers to Johnny, and he just beats up Doom.
Yeah,
Well, they
Super
turn.
Scroll Johnny.
Yeah.
Yeah, Super Scroll. Yeah,
That
that's
was
what I
my
was.
biggest
Yeah, that's what I was
problem
thinking
with
too.
this movie. If they had cut out Doom and focused more on Surfer's backstory and just done Surfer and Galactus, this movie would have been a lot better.
Well, yeah,
If
there
just
is
on
a
that principle.
whole lot going on because there is the whole wedding with Reed and Sue, and then there's Galactus sending Silver Surfer to go do his bidding and prepare a planet so he can annihilate it. Poor Saturn, by the way. No one ever talked about that.
Rip and pepperoni.
Wouldn't that mess up or is it only things close to Earth that would mess up the gravitational pull from Earth and the sun?
The only thing that would really affect would be that the something happens to the sun or something happens to the moon.
Okay. So Saturn, no one cares that Saturn was just utterly eaten.
Good riddance.
But yeah, there is Galactus and his evil things, and they bring back Doom, who is also doing his own evil things, and he secretly wants to get the surfboard for reasons. I guess he just wants revenge. It's not really clear why he wants it. He's just evil, and he wants to do evil things.
Well,
They also never
that was actually a
explained his
story.
technology. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that was a story in the comics of when Doctor Doom stole Silver Surfer's powers and got his board and was like destroying the planet because he got the powers to do it. And it's funny, the way he got defeated in that story, it wasn't Johnny becoming the Super Skrull and beating him up. So when Surfer got banished to Earth, Galactus put a barrier around the Earth saying that you're not allowed to leave. This is your punishment. You wanted to die for this plan that stopped me, so now you're stuck here forever. So there's that Doom around Earth, and Doctor Doom was like so mad with power he wanted to like maybe expand his reign of terror into space, but he crashed into the dome and like lost control of the Surfer's powers. It was this hubris that got him.
Okay.
Well, I like how Doctor Doom usually falls to his hubris, not Super Skrull Johnny.
Well, yeah, because they have surprisingly they try to add a lot to Johnny in this one, way more than the last one because he feels like a screw up, and then they give him a little bit of redemption at the end by just beating up Doom.
Well, it kind of picks up on those deleted scenes from the last one where Johnny needs to grow up.
Yeah, it's just there's just too much. One thing that got a chuckle out of me was the thing in this movie where they have him in a football jersey. He's wearing XXXXXL sized Hawaiian t-shirts. It
Well,
is
yeah,
amazing. Yeah, it looks so silly. I'm
I don't
trying to
see what's
think
wrong
of.
with him wearing a suit. I know it looks silly,
Well,
this rock creature's wearing a
yeah.
suit, but
Well, I know they did that for practical reasons, so Michael Chiklis only had to have probably the head application and the hands done. Because I can't imagine how fun it was for him from the last movie. Because I'm pretty sure, remember the FX has the movies? When they
Mhm.
used to show these movies on that channel all the time, during the commercial breaks, they would have behind the scenes footage of the movies and interviews. And I think they did say they expedited the process for Michael Chiklis in this movie. They made it a little easier I could be totally wrong. I think that's what I remember. But
Well,
yeah,
usually they make it faster. Like, I never heard of
those
a process
shirts
where they
were
make it
entirely
slower.
done.
Yeah.
So I don't think I've ever heard of a makeup process where they managed to make it worse after every movie, where it got slower.
I'm sure you could find one.
Oh God.
But I think, I don't know, this movie just feels so
Well,
rushed.
that and also with Doom coming back, but him aligning with the U.S. military makes absolutely no sense. That these people are willing to trust him over Reed Richards, who for the past couple of years is a highly publicized superhero, and the general was being more of a jerk to Reed and trying to bully him. But he strikes a bargain with Doom,
Yeah,
and
Doom,
when
who's
he
been assumed
he
dead for a
comes
few
back, and
years.
he comes back so abruptly, and the general's like, "I brought him here." It's like, when did you guys start talking again?
Yeah,
You
wasn't
hit him
Doom
up
like
on
dead?
MySpace. Hey, you up?
Yeah.
MySpace.
How would he have developed the technology? They never explained how he built the thing to summon Surfer's board. There was no explanation for that.
He's really smart. And that's fine in a way because they're super smart. You'd figure they'd have a way. They had a way to disconnect them from the surfboard anyway. But I think they should have just removed Doom entirely from the movie and just focused on Galactus, who is you don't see him in his goofy looking comic book appearance. He is a cloud. Now, Craig, since you're the biggest Silver Surfer fan, what did you think of his interpretation or appearance?
Honestly, I think it's often overhated and people just fall for like again, it's the frenzy where like, oh, I see people online hate it, so I've got to hate it. I can't think for myself. It really isn't the worst interpretation of Galactus. I know the Cloud people kind of clown on, which, okay, I guess they want to be more realistic, but I think they got to the point of Galactus is a hurricane. He's a storm. You can't reason with him. You can't bargain with him. He's coming and you can't stop him. Because too many interpretations make Galactus a little mouthy. Like he starts talking to people, he gets like arrogant. And I don't really like that. I'm pretty sure the new Fantastic movie is going to be just like this. He's going to get mouthy. He's going to probably crack quips and stuff.
Or they're going to say an Earth joke that he doesn't understand. He's like, what does that mean?
Explain it to me. Something stupid.
He points
I
at
like-
Ben. What is that thing?
Well, before you continue cooking, Craig, to my knowledge, I think I remember from one of your Marvel encyclopedias, his human form is not his real form, or that ridiculous looking form is not his real form. It's what our eyes and what people can perceive him best as. It's like what our
Yes.
brains can understand him to look like, but it's not his real form.
Yeah, there's that famous panel like how he looks like to humans, like the Skrulls, the Kree, and a bunch of other alien races. Now, like I said, how they visually interpret him.
I thought it was fine too, because, like you said, he's just some destructive force that you can't bargain or reason with. It doesn't know feelings.
Well, that's what people always liken to him, like a storm or a natural disaster. You can't talk a hurricane out of destroying wherever it's attacking. It's going to do it, whether you are there or not, whether you try to stop it or not. It's going to happen. Which is what I like about Galactus. People, I remember after Endgame, people wanted Galactus to be like the big bad of like phase 4, 5, and 6. Like anybody saying that does not understand the character of Galactus. He is not a generic big bad you build up to. He is again, he's gonna something that's gonna show up and you can't stop him until Silver Surfer, betrays and helps you out. But
Because also in the comics, there are times they try to save him because if he dies, he has enough energy to blow up the universe. So you have to keep him alive too. He's just there, and you have to deal with him.
oh yeah, like what his role is, like culling planets or whatever. But that's not important as much for this movie. But as overall in all, I think the hatred for this version is overblown. Sure, he shouldn't have been a space cloud, but they did say that planned to obviously do a spin-off for the Silver Surfer, and he would have appeared more accurately in that movie if it ever got made.
I'm curious what the concept art would have been like. Would he have been in all leather, like the X-Men costumes?
I think we're moving
Makes-
away from leather in 2007.
It makes you wonder, though. Yeah, you're probably right. 2007 is like when they started shifting a little bit. One thing that is for sure in this movie is that Jessica Alba's wig, and everyone is clowned on this, is just so bad. It looks like she went to the Halloween store and just picked it up.
Another Sue Storm with another bad wig.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think this one they said Jessica Alba didn't want to dye her hair again. But the other one, they used the wig because, was it Rooney or Kate Mara? She cut her hair after the initial principal photography, and they needed reshoots, so they got her a terrible wig, so...
I know. I just think it's like a tradition, right? It's gotta
Maybe
carry
Vanessa
on.
Kirby has a wig in the new movie, too. Who knows?
It's gotta be terrible. Well, look, we're talking about the multiple storylines that were going on. Obviously, Galactus was the big one.
Mm-hmm.
They had the wedding, and then they also tried to introduce Reed and Sue retiring out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which I can kind of get if that's a story maybe down the road where after a couple of years of being superheroes, they get tired of it, but they just became heroes and they already want to retire. I felt like it was a little too soon, too rushed.
Yeah. If they did a third movie, that would have been a good storyline to follow for them. Maybe they have Franklin, they have a kid now, and they want to step away from the spotlight.
Yeah, it's like, what can we do now? We have a kid. We can't be saving the world all the time and be parents or be good parents. That would make more sense. Like, just because they can't have a media circus wedding, I mean, they didn't even have to have a big wedding. I know that they've got the money for it, but they could have just had a normal wedding in like the Baxter building with like a few invited people and Stanley. I'm so
Stan Lee.
I'm
You
so
said,
glad that
yeah,
yeah,
you
that's my
go.
favorite Stan Lee cameo because that was actually from the original comic. It was Stan Lee and Jack Kirby at the very end were not invited to the wedding. They were trying to get in, like I think Dum Dum Dugan was like saying, "Nope, sorry, get out."
I think also one thing that isn't lore accurate is the surfer being essentially he needs his surfboard to get his
Yeah.
powers, and obviously that's not from the comics at all. He's pretty powerful in the comics, the Silver Surfer.
Yeah. Well, the power cosmic is within him.
And he busts out the Marvelton Alliance move where you can heal. He does that on Sue Storm. That's what I was thinking about.
I mean, that didn't bother me. It's like, they had to have a way to beat him. Otherwise, again, he's unbeatable for the Fantastic Four. So separating from his board, it's, whatever. It's in service of the story.
Oh yeah, because he could have just annihilated them if he really wanted to.
But I think that's where you could have taken out Doom and focused more on them talking with the surfer.
Well, I think the biggest hurdle they faced when writing this and portraying Galactus as he is a giant cloud is, well, what's the final climax going to be? If he comes to the Earth, he's eating it. And if just Silver Surfer's running around, are they going to fight Silver Surfer the whole movie and then fight Galactus? So I could see probably why. It's probably some dumb Fox mandate to bring back Doom. I'm sure of it. But
Oh,
it
probably.
is kind of tricky. What are you really gonna do? Especially if he's a cloud. At least in the new one from the trailers, you see Galactus running around and throwing cars. So I can kind of see why they
Yeah.
use Doom.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like they needed somebody to fight in the final act, but it just didn't mesh well into the story.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, obviously, but I'm just saying I can sympathize.
Because then, Colin, they could have pulled more from Marvel Ultimate Alliance for you and used the Ultimate Nullifier. Just
Have the
saying.
Watcher show up.
Isn't that used on Mephisto?
Galactus.
No, the
No, in the game, yeah.
Muonic inducer is what you use against Galactus in the game. I would know.
I really hope you're wrong.
No, it is true.
I thought in the comics they used the Ultimate Nullifier.
He uses
on
that
them.
in Mephisto in the good ending when you pick it up in Doom's
Okay,
castle.
yes, in the game. But Dino's talking about in the
I know
original
he
story.
is, but he
The
mentioned Marvel
Watcher
Alliance.
gives Reed the ultimate nullifier, saying, "Okay, you might destroy the Earth, but it's like a universal delete button. So if I press this, you die."
I know. I'm just saying in Marvel Alliance.
They have to bargain with Galactus.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's kind of like a cheat
Muonic
code they get.
inducer. That's in the game. But yeah, Dano's right. That's from the comics. But in Marvel Alliance, he used it against Mephisto.
Not everything's about Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
All
It is to me.
life is Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
It is to me.
I think maybe my favorite scene in the whole movie was Johnny and Ben at the bar having that little heart to heart. I still always like that scene between them. It's the little moments like that, and it's just their dialogue. Where Ben's like, "Hey, you're not a complete scrub. Thank you."
Well, I think that's what kind of props up both of these movies. The first one and this one, like the characters just interacting with each other. Like when they switch powers, and then Ben starts throwing fireballs and rock Johnny's face. He goes, "Ah, I see why you like doing that. That's a lot of fun."
Yeah, it's
I like that.
charming, the character stuff.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
those scenes are better at Johnny realizing, hey, you know what? Maybe I do need to grow up, as opposed to him becoming Super Skrull. I think those moments do better, as opposed to he just now masters all their abilities.
Pretty
But-
effective. He's like wrapping himself around Doom.
Yeah.
But can we talk about the Fantastic Car? Because that is so dated. The Dodge Hemi.
Of course.
Oh my god. Yeah, Hemi. Of course.
Hemi? Of course.
Yeah,
I
you want to
wonder
talk
how
about
much
dated?
Dodge. Yeah, I wonder how much Dodge paid for that one.
You want to talk
Maybe-
about? Have you ever seen the first Fantastic Car?
No,
The very first one in the comics?
I might
People
have.
call it the bathtub because it looks so goofy. I love the original Fantastic Car. I know they would never include it, but I really wish we could have seen like a prototype of the first Fantastic Car. It looks so stupid seeing them fly around in it, but I love it. I love it so much. I really wish they could have included it.
Maybe they'll be in First Steps because they have Herbie. But maybe Chuckle was the product placement of the Hemi. The Fantastic Car was fine.
But yeah, I mean, it was very practical.
Yeah.
And then I hated Doom's. Let's go for a spin.
Let's all go for a spin!
Oh my god, he is so bad. He is
Vince
Mr. Cheese.
Surfs up, metalhead.
Well, that's the thing. That's funny.
Yeah.
But,
I always love that line, surfs up, metalhead.
but Doom, being Mr. Evil, has the Saturday morning cartoon one-liners. Don't forget in the last movie, Marco Polo, Susan, you're fired. This is gonna be fun. Ha 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 ha. He is so bad.
Tell me more what you like about Doctor Doom.
I don't like this version of Doctor Doom. He is just objectively, especially in the second movie. The first one, not good, but he is worse in this one.
Probably
And because
been in it.
Well, yeah, he shouldn't have been, and he's so shoehorned in, and then he's
Was
the villain
he-
again.
I'm just curious if they originally were not going to have him, and then they kind of panicked and were like, well, we need to have Doctor Doom and just to ensure some profit.
I don't know if it's about profit, but I think they probably just ran into the situation I said, where they realized that if you have Galactus, how are you going to fight him, really? Especially if he's a giant cloud. That's probably why they just included Doom at the end. I could be totally wrong. He could have been involved from the very beginning.
Well, I mean, it still could be in the beginning, but they ran into that issue when they were writing it.
Yeah.
I did like that at the end, they knock him into the water, he just drowns, and never mentioned again, no one deals with him.
Yeah, they kind of forget about him.
He died brutally.
Is he dead, though?
I mean, he doesn't have any superpowers that would prohibit him from drowning. In this universe,
Are you sure he drowned? Did we see him drown?
you saw him sinking rapidly to the bottom.
What? He could swim. Maybe he was just...
Not in that armor.
I don't know. This
It doesn't
guy...
matter. Never got a sequel.
This guy was in animated suspension.
Well, I'm sure if they did a third one, they would have introduced Namor, and Namor would have carried him to the top, saved him from drowning just so he could be back.
So Dano mentioned the scene about when Johnny and Ben were talking at the bar, and I kind of wish I had more scenes, not just like that because I like the conversation they had, but kind of realizing like, hey, the world's kind of going to end. I think we should talk about that because outside of that scene, no one really mentions that the world's probably going to end.
Yeah,
Reed
only
said, "Oh,
Mr.
yeah."
Fantastic says,
Yeah.
"Oh, we're out of time, or it's too late." There's no impending doom that anyone was. No pun intended. There's no impending doom anyone was feeling.
I kind of wish they had more of that in the movie where like everyone's kind of like going to start panicking like, oh God, is the world going to end? Everywhere he goes, the planet dies in 8 days.
Well, the movie would have to be longer for that to happen because you would actually have
I
to
did-
allow things to breathe.
See, I did feel this movie should have been longer. I think you could have done 2 hours with this one,
Yeah, this one is 92, 93 minutes, it said.
including like credits.
Including
It's just-
92 minutes. So it's probably about 80 minutes without the credits. Maybe 83. But yeah, too
But
short.
scenes like that where you see people with like, oh God, the world's going to end. What are you going to do? Like, you know, they go to the Fantastic Four saying, what are you going to do?
Yeah, they
The only
kind
heroes
of
we have.
they kind of don't pay any attention to. I know they say that they are running out of time, but they don't act like it. They kind of act like it's a regular Thursday.
Well, yeah, like Reed's like, oh, I'm getting married. I can't really help you. It's like, oh, buddy, you're the world that ends. Your marriage doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
I granted, when he made that decision, he didn't know about the time limit beforehand, but
Yes,
still,
yes.
like, just the fact that the world's ending.
It's
I
all
think we
yours,
should probably
General.
focus
I
on.
want nothing to do with this.
I expect what the general was doing too. Like he was being a jerk to them, like calling them freaks and whatever. It's like,
he died so brutally. This is rated PG, and that guy's half of his body just gets eviscerated.
he had it coming.
He did.
Did you know
What?
that was originally supposed to be Nick Fury, but obviously didn't have the rights to him?
Oh, so they would have killed off Nick Fury like that?
Probably not, but
Yeah.
because it wasn't Nick Fury, they it's like,
Oh.
yeah, whatever, just kill him.
Just blast him in half.
Yeah.
It'd be fine.
I understand the general's place in the story, but they could have done him differently. Just him being a bully and a jerk to
He was
Reed
just too
Richards.
combative to read for no reason.
Yeah, it was pointless.
Well,
I'm
he
the
keeps coming back
quarterback.
to
This is my
first.
team. You were a nerd. Well, this nerd is
It's
the
the
smartest
smart- yeah.
person on the planet.
And he
He
has
built
superpowers.
something to track cosmic energy in a week leading up to his wedding. It might have been shorter. It might have been like a couple days. He built that.
Yeah, that guy was just antagonistic for no reason. Because we need tension, I guess. Even though it's
I
not
did
really
like I
tension.
did like Reed telling him off though.
Oh, yeah. Well, because he was right.
Well,
In the
yeah, but also
comics,
like
he was
Reed
really that much of a
understanding of-
pushover, Reed, though.
No, he wasn't. His whole thing was, just he would work too much and he would tell people off.
Like someone with that kind of intelligence.
Yeah, he's smart. He's not spineless.
Not just smart, but he's got superpowers. Like it's bad enough. Okay, maybe you're a spineless. The movie's the spineless
Yeah,
scientist.
he could literally wrap you around and pop you.
Science lesson number one.
Chem 101.
Yeah. Physics 101.
Aggravated assault 101. What happens if I strangle you? You just wrap
Anatomy
yourself-
101. What happens if I break every bone in your body?
Oh, did you know that the female that kind of berates Johnny is the second Nova? One of the
I-
herald, or the Nova of Galactus' Herald?
What?
The military
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you probably would have known that, but she's Nova, not Richard Rider, Nova Frankie Ray, Herald of Galactus.
How's I ever supposed to know that?
I'm just saying.
Would have made more sense if they just named her after one of Johnny's love interests in the comics.
Well, she is one of them.
Recently or older?
Oh, older.
Oh, so she hasn't gotten her powers yet?
Yeah, she didn't. She, I think, was dating. It's been a while since I read this, but I think she was dating Johnny, and then for some reason, for no reason at all whatsoever, she became a Herald of Galactus.
Oh, I thought when you said that she was a Herald of Galactus in the movie, and I started panicking, thinking, did I just like stop paying attention at one point in the movie, and they addressed that? They're gaslighting me. That's why I said.
I realized the goal that I had, and I blew it.
That's why I said, how was I supposed to know that? Kind of like that Elijah Wood tweet that he did for The Rise of
Oh.
Skywalker. How were we ever supposed to know that?
No, they're just a little cameo, kind of like not Nick Fury. But I will say, the CGI for Silver Surfer looks pretty good. I think already looks
Yeah.
better than the one that's coming out this year.
Yeah, he looks pretty good in this movie.
I just think it's very odd that CGI is going backwards.
I did like the little touch where when he would use a lot of his powers, the color would he'd turn darker a little bit when he's using a lot of power, then it would restore.
Yeah.
Especially when he was healing Sue at the end. That was a nice little touch, even if not accurate.
Yeah, nice touch. I was just talking more about like the CGI.
Oh, I know,
see
he looked
I see
good.
the new one and
Yeah,
it
he
doesn't
looked
look as good. Marvel needs to beat their VFX artists harder because they're slacking.
Oh, don't worry, they're getting abused.
So obviously this movie never got a sequel, but what would you have liked to have seen in the sequel?
No Doctor Doom.
Okay.
Maybe the Skrulls? I think that's probably one of the more logical choices, right? Or maybe that giant green creature that's on the Fantastic Four #1 cover?
Isn't that the Mole Man's creature?
I have no idea.
I was just wondering who you'd want to see because they seem to be doing a more realistic take, and the Fantastic Four unfortunately fight, or not fortunately, but for this take, they fight a lot of like supernatural or extraterrestrial threats, extra dimensional threats. So they're kind of limited. Like Doctor Doom, okay, he's a human in like a suit of armor who uses magic. To cut the magic, just give him superpowers. Because aliens, I guess aliens are okay, but shape-shifting aliens, I don't know about that. Inhumans, I guess maybe they could have been next. I don't think they had the rights to name her.
Yeah, if they
Well, he's
did have the rights
universal.
to
Yeah, Skrulls might have been too far out there.
bring in a nihilist.
I think it's way too out there for them. Maybe they would have had Franklin in the third one. Who knows? I'm just wondering if you had any other what they could have done for the third one. I feel like they have tons of ideas of what you could do, but
But they kind of handicap themselves with their more grounded approach, I guess you could say.
yeah, just fun to think about. Because remember we did that for other ones. Like, what would you want to do for the others? Like a Daredevil sequel.
Yeah.
Some things that got a chuckle out of me were when Johnny had the millions of sponsors on his Fantastic Four
Oh,
suit.
yeah, that was like Captain Amazing.
It's funny when you do it as a joke, but like, hey, when I see it in real life, it like disgusts me. Like I get visually disgusted when I see that in real life. Like the racing suits, I just get like disgusted having all that product placement advertisements. But when you make fun of it, I like it. So it didn't bother me as much. Got a chuckle out of me.
This movie could have, it's weird to say, but this movie could have gone longer. And if you cut out Doom, you immediately have a better movie and focus more on Surfer.
Yeah, and Galactus too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Doom is redundant in this movie. He does the same exact thing again. He's not needed. They should have just removed him. But I guess they want to have that marquee value. Ooh, Doctor Doom's in it again. It didn't work.
What's funny, he's not even on the poster, so
Any other final thoughts for you boys?
another joke I found funny was see these are the scenes I don't mind because they don't really add anything to the movie, but I like watching, I like thinking about them, I like watching them. When Ben was setting up the device, the tachyon pulse, and a bear comes by.
Oh, yeah.
He just roars at it.
boo-boo.
I don't know. I just like seeing like Ben trying to be nice to the bear. He yells back. Here's something so stupid. I don't know why I got a chuckle out of me more this time, but when Reed's trying to find a place for his luggage, he screws over
Oh,
and like stretches his arm to put his luggage
Yeah.
above her.
That was funny.
Like it's I don't know. They're seeing like them be normal people using their powers.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. It's kind of like the strength of these movies.
Any other final thoughts?
Well, like Daniel was saying about the character interactions, and I feel like that's what these movies are going to be really remembered for. Is I know people are gonna probably toss them aside now that the MCU's doing their own Fantastic Four. It's probably not gonna do well like most of their movies these days, but I feel like for these, they're gonna be remembered more for probably the accurate casting and the interactions, more of like the normal interactions they have with each other, not the action, not the superhero stuff, not even the best story, but just having them just be more of like a family, acting like real people around each other, interacting. That's, I guess, for me, what I remember the most about the movies.
Yeah, the cast was always good for these two movies. It was just everything else that kind of faltered the movies, especially Doom.
That's a shame.
But really good cast, even with Jessica Alba's terrible wig in this movie.
I'm gonna say like at least there's something worth watching with these, even though they're not the best. I feel like at least get some
They're
parts
charming.
right. Like if you almost skip the superhero stuff and just watch them, just basically, like, it's almost like you're stalking them. Like just watch them live their lives almost. Just constant bickering, fighting, which is kind of what's supposed to be.
Just watch the Ben and Johnny compilations.
Yeah, he's like it's just that's how it's supposed to be. The Fantastic Four invasion, like more realistic at the time, bickering, just almost normal people who happen to have superpowers, not the other way around.
Yeah, well, we're not going to know what the new one is going to be for at least another month, so we'll see how these hold up to the new one. But with all that being said, this has been the Unbiased Opinion, where everyone's opinion is biased except ours. I'm Colin.
I'm Norin.
Yes, you are.
And I'm Mr. Dantastic.
We will see you next week.